Hey everybody, what's up, what's up? I am actually on a live server right now. I hit the function 2 key. Right now I'm
go the derail one switch.
I made up this concept for tanker cars, basically is all it is. We do have 12 still. Well, anyway, they're all tanker cars, and I have them set for it's a petroleum company. But yeah, I didn't realize that at the time that somebody had set out a ton of cars at the petroleum company, filling up all the tracks. I said, alright, no problem, I'll just go ahead and take this for a cruise. And so this is what I'm doing. I came out of Bakersfield here, and this is where I'm at. I'm heading eastbound. If you want to know how to do that, set the east, west, north, and south. Put your mouse over the dot and click on it, and you can see, and you can select north, west, south, east, and then click close. You'll see it'll change, and that's how you get that up on there. I am approaching by hitting
going back to
a reduction area where I have to really do 23, and it's for a long ways, and 1.6 miles. So I am watching my speed and everything here. Now on this particular train, I'm running 7 locomotives, yes 7, and they're all SD70s. So if I was to hit, let's get up in the air real quick, get up out of here, away from it. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 in the front, and these are all tankers here. Some are random, some are full, half full, empty. So 4 up front, I put 2 in the middle there, okay, and then 1 down here on the end. That is, from what I understand, the maximum number of engines that you can have on a train, as I understand. So,
stay off right there.
And what I have,
yeah, probably close enough. We're just going down to it. We'll get hold up.
Is the distributed power, the lead, the middle, and the end locomotives. So I do not have a rail driver, so I have to use keyboard. But oh, let me say something here real quickly. I know I'm the only one on. We do have TeamSpeak. But like if you want to talk on to the network, whatever channel you're in now, if you first join, it's going to be straight zeros, and that is kind of like to everybody on every channel. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Once you change your channel, you find out what area you're in, and I always thought that's a pound 54. No, it's SAR 54. I guess UP radio, you know, I'm driving a Burlington Northern train, will be channel 14. Well, there you go, I got it on channel 14, and what you do is you hit the tab key, and then you can say Burlington Northern Santa Fe 9211 test, and hit enter, and then I'm going to hit the tab key again to close it. So, and you'll see there 14, well that shows you what channel you're talking on. Your name, the name of the train, what kind of train, and then what your message is. So you have to hit the tab key once to start the transmission, and you'll hear that hailing frequency start train. Hit it again to close it. You have to hit it twice. Okay.
I don't know where I'm going to crush.
Sometimes the mile markers left shift F8 don't work, the mile marker tags. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So but I'm trying to figure out whereabouts I'm at. Let me pull up my maps here on my other monitor. And I'm through Illman, 25.
Swing 223, clear,
Actually,
651.
no, that'd be 15. I think 15 is facing the wrong way. But anyway, I'm between Illman and Caliente. I know that. So here's Caliente. I just don't have the milestone number, but you would call it in. And if I'm looking at my map, 25 is just after 332. Going upward in mile number, so I'm going downhill. Okay, now what I wanted to explain to you was, right now I'm in all local drive. So every time I hit the key, you'll notice that the throttles are all the same for all three. Now, how do you do this without Rail Driver? And I do want to get it. It's on my Christmas wish list, hint hint. You can do this with your keyboard shortcuts. It's called fielding. No, not fielding. Fencing, I'm sorry. It's called fencing. So you use your left shift button and your brackets, your right bracket. So I'm going to zoom in down here, take a look. So left shift, right bracket, and you see I just now separated the lead from the other two sets. So now let's say this one here, I wanted the front to slow down. I could do notch 1 or speed up, minus and plus on your keypad, and you notice that the others here are staying the same. If I wanted to control the other two locomotives, in this case since I'm fielding right here, you'd use the left shift button and either the quotation marks or the semicolon, depending on what you want. So you see there in 5, I'm using a semicolon to down, to lower that, which is going to stretch my train out, but it's also going to help me with my braking going downhill. And then the left shift and the quotation marks to pick it back up. Now if I was to hit my left shift and my right bracket key again, what happens? I've now isolated the rest of the train. I now have my front locomotives and my middle locomotives together and my rear locomotive by itself. So I could say, and since speed limit is 23, I already know shift N, yep, shift C, okay, left shift, and I'm gonna semicolon, drop this down, and you'll notice that it's changing. My rear locomotive is in notch 4. My 4 beginning and my 2 middle are in notch 6. Okay. And then to get rid of it all, let's bring this back up. What's that? Notch 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. To get rid of it, left shift, left bracket, and it's gone. Depending on how many splits you have. Now, if you only have 2, one in the you have engines in the front and engines in the rear, then all you're going to have is A and B, and the split's going to be in the middle. Okay, that's all there's going to be. In this case, I have engines in the middle, so speed this back up, slow down a little too much. I didn't want to go over the speed limit, but this works regardless of where your distributed power is, the way your engines are set up. If I had another engine or something in the middle, I'd have a D and an E and so on and so on. What else? Oh yeah, I was going to say one other thing. Let's say, for example, we have a split. So I want to use the left shift and the right bracket to field it. And let's take this one and let's drop the notches down on those two. So the middle of my train and the rear of my train, I have slowing down. The front of my train, the 4 engines on the front, I have up to knot 6. I want to watch my coupler because about 300,000 pounds, those knuckles will break. So what I can do, even though I have it fenced with different notches going on, if I hit the left shift and the left bracket, boom, you notice how everything shifted to whatever the lead is. Now let me show you this here again. Right bracket, shift right back, left shift right
coming
back.
into your mode now, so we'll see how it goes. But give me a call after the light power.
Slow this one down.
See about moving the other.
Okay, same thing. Left shift, left bracket, left shift, left bracket, boom, it switches. So I wanted to show you that on how to what they call fence and control your locomotives. So in this case, I have 3 sets of locomotives, but in most cases you'll only have 2. Now, I am indeed speeding, so I better break this on down. I didn't mean to get up there. Got sidetracked. Okay, now we're back under control. And this will snitch on you. It'll turn purple and say, hey, dispatcher's watching. You are speeding. Yes, you are. So we are now going through Caliente. What else was there? There was something else I was going to mention. Again, this is the SD70, but it works the same, I think, for everything. The GP40s and the SD40s, I think, or SP40s, were not really meant to be fenced. I'm not even sure you can fence those, so keep that in mind.
Between one who goes the derail, one to switch.
There was something else I was going to mention about all this, and now my mind has gone blank. Oh, that's what it was. What is the purpose of fencing? Well, true, you can use fencing to control your train to help brake. If you're going down a hill, you can throw your dynamic braking on the end of the train to help slow down your momentum. It'll stretch the train out.
Point back to 20.
And it'll slow your train down, kind of like rear end braking. Versus front end braking, everything is pushing up against you and it's trying to slam you forward. It's also good for starting uphill or going uphill. Now here is where I've heard different stories. Again, I am not an engineer. I have never worked for the railroad, so I don't know. I can only go by what I've heard. Feel free to comment below and share the information, so that I and others can know. But there does seem to be a difference about bunching up your train versus stretching it out or allowing it to stretch out when on an upgrade or hill, like what's coming up here. And this one, according to my maps, should be a 2.1 degree. So this would be a perfect example. We may try it. I'm not the world's best. Practice, practice, practice. But I think I'm actually going to do this, and we'll see how this turns out. My train is just under a mile long, but 6,248 tons. And again, these multi-function unit displays, the Z key will switch you back and forth. Whatever one that the X is on is the one that you're operating, and then C and X. C as in Charlie.
Under 340, that's 340 to Wilson from control point C17.
So that's how you know we're going to approach me and coming up.
On the siding switch now.
So
$200, dispatch ARW.
see what's going on. I know what's going on. I'm about to approach in, I think, Allard Yeah, Allard is next. I want to leave that as a red for right now so that I can come to a stop up here. So anyway, as I was saying, I'm just going to creep on up until I know this whole train is on the uphill. Control F12. See, a lot of this is still, there's my middle locomotives there. It's not really in the middle, but that's 50 cars right there. And then I drop those in, and then whatever I had left over, I put them over here. So I won't give it time so that it gets on the hill completely. It's a 2.1 degree incline at milepost 359. So we should be approaching milepost 359 here directly.
Where's the coming into gear mode now?
We'll see how it goes. Give me a call after light power. Engineers talking about this, sidetracked. Some say it's better to bunch them up when trying to start uphill. Get them all bunched up and then push up together. And I've heard engineers say the opposite, that it's better to let them stretch out. I've also heard engineers say never let your train stretch out on a hill, but keep it bunched up. And then I've heard others say it's the opposite. I don't know which is the best. I have no clue, no idea. I guess maybe it's the difference of where you're driving, like the East Coast apparently drives differently than what the West Coast does. Okay, so we are now starting our uphill here. Drives different than what, so I'm gonna bring the train to a stop. So I don't know. What I'm going to do is come in here, right bracket,
Bar still 105A.
Whoops, wrong one.
22759, summary BNSF 4526.
There we go. Now I'm trying to bunch up the train. If I go to F12, I'm sliding backwards. So that's not working, right? Whoops. And we stopped. Okay. Notch 8 in the rear is right now holding the train. It's holding the train. Now I do have the brake cylinder doing enough for my independence. So right now that's holding it. You cannot, to my knowledge, separate and have one going forward and one going backwards, like in braking versus regular throttle. So if I was to hit the, oh, you can. Okay, so that's the dynamics for the front two, while the rear is set to pushing. Okay.
You got it.
I'm going to switch this to here. Notice how that automatically changed. Now one of the tricks that you want to do is I'm going to pull and start easing off of the brakes. Right here, my brake pressure. Let's see what. See, now the train there is pushing forward. I'm still sitting still. And I'm going to keep easing off. Notice I'm going forward. I'm watching my knuckle pressure, my knuckle. That's in thousands of pounds. And I'm pushing myself up. I'm in notch 5 on my lead locomotive, but the rest of these are in notch 8, which I can bring them back down. Left shift and the semicolon. And now that I got them there, I can go ahead, I'm rolling, and I can go ahead and just remove the whole field. That is basically how you start uphill, using a fence with the keyboards.
Marshall 105A.
What do you think?
Permission to change
It was a smooth start.
4526.
The train did not roll back. Once it came to a stop and it stretched out, I scrunched it up together, or bunched it up, which again, some people say yes, some people say no. I bunched it up together. I ran my rear end, pushed all the cars tight. It's called bunching up. And then while I had my independence on, ran my rear locomotive up to notch 8. It was holding it along with the air brakes, the independence in the front. I got a advanced approach, which I know why. I got prepared to stop. Yellow over red. Advanced approach, be prepared to stop. I think the speed is 40 miles an hour. 50 miles an hour. 50 miles an hour for BNSF. Yeah, and UP. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch this. I already know what it is. Switch that. I'm gonna switch these. Yellow, of course, you know, means that it'll turn back to red after you get through. I don't want to turn them all to green because I don't want to fleet them. Nothing wrong with fleeting, but because this is a server, whoops, wrong one.
Thank you kindly.
I don't want, that's why they're green. It's called this one.
Did you get that one?
This one, you can tell by where the base is at. Here and here. Okay. 15, straight to the end, 23 is my speed. So I'm doing fine. I can actually kick it up a notch. But anyway, I bunched them all together. I went ahead and let my rear locomotive go all the way up to notch 8. Now it's putting all the tractive effort it can into it, okay? Then I went ahead and started decreasing my pressure a little bit, at which point I switched over and I grabbed my middle locomotives and fenced them with the rear, isolating the front. Now this is a 3 series, or whatever you want to call it, 3 fencing situation. And let them, they got to run up to notch 8. Still holding it. The rear of the train started moving up just a little bit more because apparently it hadn't quite all the way bunched up. And then I started easing out the air pressure, my independence, while increasing my front. And I made it up. Never lost never lost control of my train. So that's how you fence start on an uphill. And again, this is a 2.1 degree incline. I'll show you the map here. This is the map, and it's right here. 2.1 degree, milepost 359. We're outside Caliente, and we're heading, well, this is south and east. East for BNSF, south for UP. This is the way we're heading, this way. Okay? I hope that has helped, and hopefully that has answered some questions. And we'll talk to you later.